Roundtable, part of the Pizza Club Network. Every week we cover the biggest news stories in the pizza world. I'm your host, Will Dumas, and I'm joined by my guest host, Jim Mumford. Jim is both a cookbook author and a writing contributor for the media publication Inside Hook. Jim, man, what is up, dude?
Hey, good evening, Will. How you been, bud?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing good. It's been a couple weeks. Excited to get into it.
Absolutely, dude. I know. I feel like it's been a minute. Pizza's been away from my life. I feel like I've eaten some pizza. I've eaten some pizza. You know, I don't know. It hasn't been as a wonderful pizza couple of weeks for me as I would have hoped. Hope you had a better pizza experience over the past couple of weeks.
Listen, like you, there were ups, there were downs, there were kitchen fires, right? I ran the whole gambit. It was good time.
Kitchen fires.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it. We got time.
Oh man.
New York pizza had to be great, right? Had to be great. No, you were in New York for a couple days.
So it
put 'em on spot.
I know it wasn't what I was hoping for. I didn't get to eat a lot of pizza up there. I actually did stop in. There's like a new John George building there called the Tin Building on the like east side there. And there's a number of different concepts in there, right? I had some pretty good ones. I forget the name of the Asian concept that he had in there, but it was good. I thoroughly liked it. It was like a monkfish dish. I'm a sucker for the poor man's lobster of monkfish, dude. It was awesome. I had some good tuna tartare, steak tartare at the brasserie there, which was pretty good. But I went to the dough shop, which I forget the name of it, but I think it's like a French inspired pizza spot or something. It's called Le Dough or something like that. It was a super thin pizza, like a lemon pizza. And so like when I tell you, I'll share a pic, like it looked good. But when you got into it, man, it was like, it wasn't balanced. It was like super acidic. And it was one of those things where like, if you actually looked at the slice, some of the like super thin, the whole pizza was covered with super thin lemons on top, right? Some of them were well baked in. You could see they were incorporated, and some of them were just not. And it was the differential was just it was astringent. It hit you, and I was like, nope, I need a slice, and that was it. So that was the only pizza I got to have for the whole trip. To tell you the truth, man. Yeah. So, but I always got to try all the John George stuff. So I had a good time, but not a horrible miss. Like I wouldn't say don't go. Probably just wouldn't go if that pie. It just looked kind of unique. You know what I mean? So I was willing to give it a whirl, but it just didn't fit, man.
You win some, you lose some, right?
Exactly. What about you? What kind of give me a pizza that you ate recently?
Oh well, if you recall, we talked about the homemade pizza maker, right? The little clamshell device. I tried to make a frozen pie on that. Turns out it's not
a frozen pie. Frozen
pie. I try a frozen pizza, right? Just baseline.
Okay.
Way up. Yeah. It turns out it's not sealed on the bottom, so if you add pepperoni and the grease leaks out, it gets in a little heating mechanism, starts to smoke. Maybe there are flames. I don't know. There's a lot.
No.
So it's probably a pass for me. I did load it up with pepperoni. There was grease. That's on me, right? I should have went stock. Okay. But that caught fire real good. Real good, my friend. So
what was it? Did it touch the top of the pizza? Like what was the ignition source there? Was it the grease underneath?
Into the bottom, and the bottom plate was not sealed, so actually like got under it into the heating element. Yeah, wouldn't have guessed. So might be a little design flaw. Might have been mine. I hope they name names so no one's coming after me. But it led for some excitement. There was a show, not dinner, but we had a show. And I got to use a fire extinguisher. So all in all, it really, 10 out of 10 would almost burn the house down again.
Oh my God. The fire extinguisher is no joke, man. You actually had to bring out like the real goods, dude. The unitasker. You brought out the unitasker.
I brought out the unitasker. Listen, I didn't know what I was dealing with, and I wasn't exactly going to get in there. So we played it a little safe. And so Amazon is going to send me a new one, and we will try again, right? Maybe I won't catch this one on fire. Maybe I will. Maybe it's a me thing.
All right.
I don't know.
Good luck on it. I mean, I'm excited to at least see the quesadillas that come out. You know what I mean? If you can maybe not burn it down on this one and see if you can do a quesadilla for the next one.
I'm worried though, because quesadilla has a cheese leak, right? If
I get it.
Listen, I'll try something different. Maybe it was my mouth. I don't know. But certainly that was my pizza excitement. And
Dude, I thought this was a beginner's oven, and I'm not feeling this. This seems like you need to be a true craftsman to work this thing, Jim.
Maybe, or have a death wish. One of the two. Really.
This looks like it's like the turkey fryer where you're like, you have to do this outside, and people are like, no, you don't. And then you see all the impacts, and you're like, yeah, you do. So this could be, maybe this is Betty Crocker's plug-in oven for outside use, and you just didn't read the full instruction manual. Probably.
I will admit I did not read the instructions, so it's on me, right? Betty Crocker's lawyers, please do not at me, right? Please.
You're going to give it another whirl, right? So I mean, we'll come back with some other feedback.
I'm going to do it outside. Don't get me wrong. With the hose ray, but I will try it again.
It's an electric oven. You can't use the hose.
I'll unplug it first. I'll have a breaker thing.
All right, there you go. There you go.
I could use the hose once, Will. Then probably not again after that.
Fair point.
Not have an opportunity.
Fair point. All right, well, I will say this, Jim. I hope you put this next one on social media. So if you guys are not following Jim yet, follow him just to watch this debacle happen. Tag us, please, Jim. I'm excited to see this go down, buddy.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten the flame. There was a lot of chaos. There were alarms going. There were people running around. It was quite the Benny Hill scene. It would have made great content. So missed opportunity.
All right, I'm looking forward to it, dude. I'll say that. That's great, man. I love it. Off of that, why don't we start with talking about our quad cities as the source here, and let's talk a little Pizza Hut. I think this one, man, was one you found here, and I'll read the headline, guys. Tasty trivia and deals for a Pizza Hut Day. I didn't know there was a Pizza Hut Day. Jim, did you before this article?
Nope. Learned something in this one.
So, guys, in general, June 5th is Hut Day. And to celebrate, we found some tasty trivia about pizza. And listen, geez, do I love some pizza trivia. Fun facts here, Pizza Hut was founded by brothers Dan and Frank Carney, still in college, when they borrowed $600 from their mother in 1958 to open a pizza place while attending Wichita State University. Jim, I had no idea how the origins of Pizza Hut came to be.
Yeah, I knew it was Kansas-based, but if you had told me a couple of college kids, that's absolutely wild. Good on them.
Red Roof logo adopted in 1969. Pizza Hut had a cartoon mascot, Pizza Pete, who also served as its logo. Pizza Pete was still used in the 70s on bagged cups and advertisements, but was eventually phased out. I feel bad. What do you think happened to Pete? I don't even remember him. Not that I was around at that time, but
no, I wasn't around either. But I've never even seen a Pizza Pete, so he must have gotten hard canceled. He must have done something.
Right, it's one of those things where it's like I feel like that would come up somewhere else, right? Like thinking about it, where like Pizza Pete would pop up, and like, or they would bring him back at some point with all the nostalgia things we see right now coming up, and we haven't seen Pizza Pete. So now I'm intrigued. If anyone else knows the legend, or I don't know about what we refer to it as for Pizza Pete, please chat us, tell us. I need to hear more about him.
Yeah, it was wild. Like you always see the retro, and Pizza Hut definitely goes into it, and never even knew Pizza Pete. So either this article made it up, which I doubt, or Pizza Pete. There's some trademark infringement, right? It looked a lot like somebody else.
Probably the case. Sounds like that probably was the way it went down. Okay, so one thing that I thought was really interesting about this, as we're talking about nostalgia, right? We were just talking about a couple of weeks ago too, as well, pizza nostalgia, right? Where there's like this kind of push for some like small market Pizza Hut stores to come back, and they're being fully outfitted with this kind of nostalgia look, right? Like this was, I think it was it Plano, Texas, where it was starting. I think there was like an idea where there was a target specifically for Pizza Hut stores in areas of like under 10,000 people, and it was the full on spectrum, right? Like roof, old school Pepsi, like sit down vibe, the whole thing. And so I'm excited to see. I'm thinking with that we would see Pizza Pete, but I don't know, man.
I guess not. Or Pizza Pete was pre-franchised or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna do. I did some Googling. I found the picture, but didn't even like spark a Mandela effect or nothing. I had
Yeah.
never seen that before.
All right. Well, Jim, when you're making pizza, do you often think that you wish you could just smell like pizza?
I mean, I generally do, but it'd be nice to wake up like that.
So Pizza Hut also offered a limited edition perfume that smelled like fresh dough with a bit of spice. I would have been really intrigued to see the commercial behind that one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I generally aspire to smell like that, but if I could get in a bottle and save me some steps, that would have been wonderful.
Originally only available through promotional contests, they looked like mini pizza boxes. A few surfaced on eBay for as much as $495.
Boy, that's a lot. That's a lot for pizza.
All right, Pizza Hut, 1970s. I didn't know this. They were popular for the Pizza Hut Easy Bake Oven. Kids
Yeah, I
could
knew
use the
this.
toy to bake tiny Pizza Hut pizzas under a 60-watt light bulb. So listen, I'm familiar with the Easy Bake Oven. I did not know there was a Pizza Hut version. This probably was the inspiration for the burn your house down Betty Crocker model that we were just describing as now. What do we think?
100%, right? This was patient zero. I remember this. I remember them bringing it back in the mid '90s when the Easy Bake Oven had like a resurgence. I remember bringing back they had the little the foil tins, and of course it didn't work, right? It was all like basically a Lunchable in a tin, but I definitely remember that coming back. So that was kind of cool to read.
Okay, interesting, man. I feel like I would have remembered the Pizza Hut version of the Easy Bake because that was definitely another toy, quote unquote, that that caused a lot of chaos or controversy in the Easy Bake Oven. But okay,
it looks like Joey in the chat remembers it, so at least I
all
got
right,
someone
all
backing
right,
me up
Joey,
that
thank you.
exists. So.
Pizza Hut's book program, Pizza Hut's Book It program is 40. Kicked off in 1984. The program encourages kids to read by rewarding them with praise, recognition, and pizza. The PRP. I do remember this one. Like I loved reading the book, going there, getting a personal pan pizza, right? So that was a hot one, dude. I was a fan of that one.
Yeah, but book it. I think that's my like first memory of Pizza Hut, right? You should go in with the little coupon. They didn't care, right? You could have waved a napkin, right? Here's the pizza kid, right? But I remember Book It and again, what a great kind of promotion, right? To still have a 30-something-year-old remember that. That's pretty good. That's Domino's tier promotion.
Totally, man. All right, last two. Pizza in 2001, Pizza Hut became the first company to deliver pizza into space. The pizza recipe had to undergo rigorous stabilized thermal conditions to ensure it would be edible when it got to the International Space Station. I didn't know that. They're the first ones up there, tell you the truth. And Pizza Hut accounts for 3% of U.S. cheese production. The company uses over 300 million pounds of cheese each year, and is one of the largest cheese buyers in the world. To make that much cheese, 170,000 cows are used to produce an estimated 300 billion gallons of milk. Damn, man. That's a lot more gallons of milk produced annually that I thought, considering 300 billion equates to 3% cheese production. Wow, I did not know milk was that popular. Sorry, I keep cutting you off because I can't. It's like, that's a lot of milk.
Yeah, it's crazy if you think about 3% of the entire cheese production goes to one company. It is wild, but it goes and they're not even the biggest. Well, they're
absolutely
not even the biggest, right? So if you look at the others, and just I'm curious, right? How much of like all the cheese we eat is in like goes to pizzerias, and it's wild. But Pizza Hut, I don't think is the king that they once were, but they are still right. They're still a force, and they still certainly have all the locations. 3% of all the cheese goes to Pizza Hut. Think about that. It's wild.
I would say you probably have to. I'm going to wildly and inaccurately speculate now on cheese production from the other like top five together. We're probably 15%. I would think of or something close to that of all cheese production in general. It's going to probably like the top 10 chain pizzerias, right? At least, or something like that.
You got to figure Domino's,
crazy.
Papa John's, Little Caesars. You got to figure they're all right there in that 3-ish%. It's wild. So it was a really good read. Really good read this week.
That was fun. That was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that one actually. So, all right, cool. All right, man. Let's talk a little bit more about maybe not a chain pizza, right? We can't call this London import um, a chain, but I'm interested, man, in getting your thoughts on this one. So this one we grabbed. I think you grabbed this one for us too, man. This is from W Top News, and this is Gordon Ramsay's Street Pizza opens in DC next week. I know there's been a lot of I don't know if I use the word hype. I do like to be fair, I'm honest. I'm like, I love everything Gordon does, and I'm a sucker for watching him on TikTok and everywhere else.
There
So,
you
like,
go.
I love the guy. I just don't know if he's the pizza guy, but I'm happy to give us a whirl. He's got seven locations across London. This will be the first one in the US. But in general, this is one of those kind of like all you can eat pizza concepts done differently. It's not a pizza buffet. Don't get it confused. It is a kind of like maybe like a hybrid of like the Brazilian, like it was a trattoria where you're coming
Yep.
by with the meat samples and getting them done. This is like pizza delivered to you, what an all you can eat in a somewhat kind of fashion like that, right?
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's by the slice. It's got the slice concept, which you and I love. But they also have ribs and other stuff, right? And it's very, it's interesting, right? Because again, I don't think it's how you or I would draw it up necessarily, right? I want the counter. I want to say I want that one and go back and kind of
Yeah.
the CC's vibe. But I mean, yeah, it's very. I didn't realize how like huge this was in the UK, right?
No,
Like, when I
yeah,
was
it's
doing my
big,
research,
dude.
it massive. But between that and it's interesting. And DC isn't kind of an odd place to roll it out, but it's kind of not, right? You're not going to get the Northeast. You're not going to get Chicago, Detroit, Ohio. You're not going to win those. So I understand why you probably start in a softer market, so to speak, than DC. So yeah, it's
Fair.
interesting.
Fair on that one. I think what really strikes me on this for the street pizza concept is the incorporation of the ribs.
Yeah.
Like I get the pasta and the wings, right? These are common concept for Americans in a pizzeria. The rib, something there just, it doesn't feel like a fit. And Jim, I'm gonna go so as far as to pull up the menu here
Yeah,
for
I think
Gordon.
it's good.
And the rib action, it's also not like, hey, here's our signature blah blah blah, and here's all the variation. There's two, right? There's a new half rack and a full rack. Smothered in BBQ sauce. That's it. No further description past that. Is this like inherently, is this a Carolina Gold sauce, Jim? What do we, if you needed generic rib sauce, what would you be going with here to serve with your pizza and your
I'm
ribs?
sure it's what Sweet Baby Ray's at best. The
Oh, good,
ceiling of
good
this is Sweet
call.
Baby Ray's.
Good
The
call.
ceiling.
Good call.
I don't know. It's interesting if you go to the desserts. I thought it was just hilarious. By the way,
For the desserts,
so
okay. We're going
yeah.
to desserts.
So you have ice cream and chocolate cup.
Mm-hmm.
You have a classic sundae. You have toffee pudding, of course. And you just have the
Yeah.
soft serve machine, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
go get it with the sprinkles. I thought, boy, someone walked into a Ponderosa and was like, I could do this with pizza. And that's what this
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm with you
knocking it,
there.
but that's what this feels like. And that's why, I said it has ribs and it's a
Yeah.
weird vibe, right? Because even looking at the pizza, it's street pizza kinda. It's it's a little more bougie, right? It's not
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
pepperoni sausage. You got so it is weird. Not weird. It's I don't know what it is, right? It's just like true street food. You've got short ribs on pizza. There are
Yeah.
ribs. I'm sure there are people yelling things. I don't know, bud. I hope it. I would love to experience it, but I think I'm gonna come in with a little couple reservations. It might work, right? If it's weird and it's out there, it's probably
Yeah,
good.
that's fair. Listen, and I know we're the article does reference at the U.S. one. I'm grabbing the U.K. menu because that's what
Yeah,
is available, but the U.S. menu does reference ribs as well. I'm sure they're going to be very similar from the perspective here. There is at least one pizza, the new idiot pizza, that does have feature ribs on it, although they are short ribs. So I don't necessarily know if those are the same ribs that are being used in the rack of ribs. I'm highly doubtful,
I
but
doubt that'll be a big beef rib.
nonetheless, yes. So hey, fair. I'm interested to see how this does. The idea of also having pizza delivered to you versus the buffet for the all you can eat pizza. I get the idea maybe is like, not that I'm trying to cheat anyone, right? But like the idea you have a slice, you wait, you get a new slice, right? You're probably prone to eat less than over grabbing from a buffet. So maybe that makes the all you can eat price point probably work a bit better, right? I mean, there's a business behind the side of all you can eat or buffet of anything,
Always.
right? In general. So it's not, it is not just necessarily in your best interest, although I hope you have some good food there. People work this out. But I'm with you, man. Interested, and I am interested in that it's DC. I assume that's because I think Gordon does have two other spots there. I think there's a Hell's Kitchen. There's a Hell's Kitchen, and there's I think a fish one. But either way, I'm assuming you found some space nearby. Run back between the three, a trifecta of Gordon's spots.
I'm sure. Yeah. So it's interesting. DC makes sense. You could have put it in the pizza capital of the world, New Haven, right? That also could have played, but.
Well, I think the pizza capital of the world is Denver now. We were talking about.
Oh, it was Denver. Then, but no, but they went to the hill, right? And they said no, New Haven's the capital.
I think it was no. If you recall, Jim, the last one that we were reading, which was I think it was is it Clover? Forget the real estate company that caused this one is the one that blew up all over like Reddit, where people were commenting, about Denver. I think it was New Canaan as the secondary one, and we were like, oh, how is it not New Haven? So it was Denver and New Canaan.
When you were gone last week, Michael and I covered the story where they actually had pizza makers from New Haven went to DC and in the capital asked to make New Haven the pizza capital of the world. Hand to God.
Got it. Okay. Now I understand. Okay.
And that's all we talked about all week. The whole episode is all we talked about. It was great. It was great content, really, for us. I should have sent them a thank you note.
All right, perfect, dude. Let's keep it unique, and let's talk a little bit more, some more unique finds. Right, this one out of Eater coming up here, man. You can now find durian pizza at a food court in Flushing. So this is over the years pungent and polarizing fruit. Notice durian has been mixed into all kinds of food, including crepes, cake, and macaroons. More recently, though, a few businesses have taken things a step further. One of them, DT Restaurant, opened in this spring in Flushing's New York food court, Roosevelt Avenue near Penn Street. The stall sells small baked pastas and personal pizzas with unique toppings like grilled eel and seasonal fruit. I've had the lovely, travel time of being in Asia with all of the no durian signs all over that I've noticed there. So it's interesting to hear. Seems like a good fit for a unique spot in Queens. Jim, are you getting the durian pizza, my man?
So I'll ask you, have you had durian before?
Yes.
Yeah. So that it does not play well with others. It doesn't even play well by itself. So I cannot imagine putting that on pizza for any reason, right? I will try anything twice. But I mean, for those who haven't had it, it's kind of like if you took blue cheese, banana, and gym sock and all put it together, right? And it's very strong. I understand why it might be acquired taste, and but to put that's going to overwhelm everything, and you get a big bite of that. Absolutely. Boy, this is in stunt food category for me, but I don't think I can do it. Would you do it?
I wouldn't. I'll put it this way. If I happen to be next to this food court for some reason, and I give it a whirl, surely for the shock and awe factor of it, I would not be seeking this out. I'm not seeking to try this. I don't need further durian experiences in my life, let alone on a pizza.
I can't imagine cooking that. Well, let's say I'll try everything, right? I'm very open-minded, but I cannot imagine that this works.
I'm with you, dude. All right, listen, let's talk chain pizza, Jim, and let's talk chain pizza in Naples. Jim, can you believe this? There's a Cece's Pizzeria and it's closing in Naples.
Can't believe it. Wild story.
I didn't think that they would ever. Oh my gosh, it
No,
is
it's
Naples, Florida.
Yeah,
Get
you
out of
got me.
here.
You got me.
Cece's Pizza closing in North and Naples after nearly 20-year run. The reason why I bring this one up, though, is always interesting when you think about it from just surely from a franchising perspective, I think, right? The owner here kind of has said that, hey, I do need to shut down the store because I don't want to commit to another 10 years, right, of renewing the franchise agreement. Had already been in the business 20 years. Noted here and highlighting the equipment behind him is 20 years as well old. I was in the store, right, running the pizza game,
Yeah.
but probably the idea of upping the franchise, right, probably have to upgrade, or even if he had to sell it, I think he's noted hard to find a buyer because whoever's going to purchase it is going to probably have a couple $100,000 of upgrades to do
Absolutely. Just kind
themselves
of
on
start
top
over.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's interesting, right? I did a little homework on Cece's, right? And they're very protective of their recipes and how food comes in. And the concept, I think, could be replicated quite easily, right? It's pizza buffet. It's your, more simpler pizza, but just the way they turn them out and the number, and yes, they've got the system, and it's very elegant. But I'm shocked to hear that Cece's has a 10-year lease agreement, right? Because you have to think of all the competition pizza has, right? It's one of the most competitive, especially at that level. And you see, your C-suite starting to come in. Hey, Cece's, we're coming for you, and to just kind of be that unfriendly, right? You would think that you'd want brand awareness and you'd want to give people, right, the 2 year and the lock in the 10 years. That's a big commitment for any franchise, let alone one that's kind of got some competitors nipping on its heels. So that's what struck me in this one, other than I was hoping it was in the actual Naples and not Florida. But that's what struck me as a 10-year lease agreement for anything, let alone Cece's, was wild.
Yeah, I'm with you, man, on that one. And to be honest, I've never even eaten at a CC's. I've never, I tell you the truth, I don't know if I've seen one in the wild before.
Okay.
Is it less East Coast? I don't know where they live, to tell you the truth. Where do these CC's live, other than Naples, Florida, man?
I think college towns, right? We had one in the college town I grew up in. We went to one in college, and just tell you the food, right? It's very, very basic, right? It's not the best pizza, right? You know what you're getting, but the price point's very favorable, especially for kids. It's great. A lot of different, right? You don't have 3. There's probably like 20, and they've got the breadsticks and the salad bar, and it's very value based. But I can see, right, you're cranking out so much pizza that the wear and tear in your equipment is probably massive. Right? You got to figure that oven didn't cool down for 20 years. It's probably time.
Fair point. Fair point
and
there, actually.
If I'm going to put $250,000, 300 into new equipment, I'm probably not going after that CC's market, right? It's probably a little different than it was 20 years ago. So that was the interesting part to me.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, playing the chain or franchise game is interesting, right? Because I would have, I wonder if we could be wrong though, right? Because I think about it, and I think about a little sandwich shop that kind of started it all, with $5 footlongs, that is somehow finding a comeback right nowadays, but too, with making a bunch of offerings, right? So it's some of those. What's old is new again at some point in time, but 10 years is a big commitment. If I was looking at
it's
a
big commitment, especially with all the equipment, right? They got to get their own pizza ovens and stuff. But that was interesting. That was a kind of the business side, really interesting read.
All right, let's travel from Florida to Portland, because that seems like a specific route to take for some reason, so I feel like I haven't talked a lot about Portland. I feel like we haven't talked a lot about West Coast pizza outside of California. I know this makes up a majority of the West Coast, but I'm considering a few states over as well, right? But anything out there, I'm not talking a lot out of California for the most part, but Portland's pizza is some of the best in the world, a new ranking says, and this one is from OregonLive.com. And I would say probably couple of years ago, we started to hear a lot about Portland and Portland pizza is being featured out there. And in general, I think it was Time Out. Okay, a Time Out magazine ranked it the 10th best city in the world for food in general. So I don't know, Jim, in general, man, Portland pizza, have you been to Portland? Have you had Portland pizza? Does Portland have a style of pizza?
So I've never been to Portland. As far as I know, there is no Portland style. They're kind of I mean, they're California-esque, right? That's kind of the vibe, right? The personal small pizza, something wood-fired, something more Neapolitan-like. But kind of reading on it, though, it does seem like an extension of California pizza, right? Where it's kind of the
Yep.
pros of the time, but also kind of goes kind of into the heavy, like, brew pub kind of culture, right? That kind of seem to go hand in hand.
Yep.
So very interesting. I will say, right, yourself ranking yourself, right, is Oregon Time, say Portland's great. But it definitely kind of interesting to see, right, because we don't talk about, West Coast at all,
No.
really, but now we're starting to see, right, you've got the LA spots popping up, the San Francisco spots, and they don't have their own style per se, but I think they're kind of taking the, what they can, the Detroits, and making them their own, and kind of, start. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Portland style kind of come just kind of naturally from the evolution, and that's fun.
That
That's
makes
really
sense.
fun.
That makes sense. I could see that then. Okay.
How about you? You've been to Portland? You look like a guy who spent a
No,
lot of time in Portland.
I'm not on the West Coast that much. San Fran, sure, been there, but I'm not much of a West Coaster, man. Not by choice, just
Yeah,
haven't
that's fun.
had the real reason to go. I could get down with the chill Californianess though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Portland seemed maybe a little outdoorsy for me. I know I seem rough, tough, rugged, like just all that you need someone to be, but it's not me. I'm not a big out, I'm not hiking, man. Like, I'm hanging inside, eating, making food. I don't know if Portland would fit. But I will say, I definitely have seen a couple of the spots that are referenced on here. Like I think we've talked about Uppy Shoals or Ken's Artisan Pizza were the top two. I think that got mentioned here, just particularly because I know the one stood out. I would also chat up, to be honest, our friend Aaron from Solstice Pizza, who's in Hood River, short drive, I believe, from Portland.
Right there.
Tell
Yeah.
you the truth, and that's definitely a good spot to check out. Aaron, love
Very
you,
good
buddy.
spot.
All right, cool. We'll continue on, man. Let's since we're now all outdoorsy and
We're
we're
there. We're
making
outdoors.
making pizza
Little
in
Brian, man. Yeah.
Portland. I'm basically camping, right? Why don't I take along my solo stove pie fire to do my pizzas in? So this is cool. I'm interested in this test. This one is from Field Mag, so this is a quote unquote real test of the backyard solo stove pizza thigh, right? Which is the contraption that we were all thinking about initially when Solo Stove had the release,
Yep.
right? That goes over the top of the stove and cooks your pies in it. I'll quickly cut to the. It looks good. To be honest, man, it just looks nice. I think I'd be happy to utilize this. That's for sure. Let's hit the pros and cons quickly. Pros, works with the Solo Stove fire pits. Check one, makes sense, right? Comes with carrying case and fireproof gloves. Good additions, to tell you the truth, on there. Uses split wood, heats up quickly, maintains temperature with minimal maintenance. Makes sense. That seems like a pretty big upside to me. Available in 3 sizes. Base price $190. Cool, right? Cons.
Yeah.
Requires the purchase of a solo fire pit. That seems to be is not much of a con to me.
Obvious.
Those seem to go hand in hand. I think that's understandable. Does not come with wood pizza peeler or steel tumbler tools. I'm also going to get over that one, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Bulky design may not store well in small spaces or apartments. I don't know that many people that are storing this entire solo stove contraption easily in their apartment in the first place, let alone this additional piece on top. I don't know. The pros seem to outweigh the cons here, Jim, to me quickly, but let me know what you think.
Yeah, it looks wonderful, right? Especially about camping. I would use this for a lot of things, other than pizza, perhaps. My concern, right, and maybe just because I'm a picky dude, is getting that to the temperature I want seemed really tough, right? Because you have to control the fire. It doesn't look like you can, control the distance from the fire, right? So you're really kind of looking at the air gap, and I think getting that right temperature would be tricky. And you'd have to, right, it really depends on a lot how you built the fire, and as you know, right, 100 degrees makes a real big difference in cooking times and some of those pies. So that's my kind of concern, is I don't see a way to consistently control that temperature. So for the average cook, I think you're going to get a lot of inconsistency with the cook, right? It's not like an uni or a Ghazni, which have some dials you can pull and you can test. This doesn't have that. The other thing I noticed is there's no stone in this, right? It's all metal. So if again, it says
interesting. I didn't think
it
about
holds
that.
heat well, I believe that. Or I bet it's stout, but again, at this temperature on metal, right? If you've got flour, if you've got some exit, you got some runoff, it's going to react a little bit differently, and it's going to be trickier than a standard pizza oven. So I love it. I think, but not for pizza, right? If I'm doing, chicken or veggies or other things, I think it's a wonderful thing to bring with you. I think pizza for the average cook would be very hard to get consistent.
No, I appreciate the analysis here, man, to tell you the truth. And I was thinking not nearly as in depth as you, but I was also wondering why there is so much space, let's say, underneath it, where I thought maybe a little bit more containment on the bottom would actually help, right? The longer sides, essentially, maybe that would help with the heat retention. But I guess you also want to use it so that it does heat the area around you, right? Not just a cooking device. So like I get that too. And I don't have a solo stove, and so I'm thinking about it surely from like if you're building a fire pit, right? In general, you're thinking, listen, the flames, like I don't want a ton of flames, right? You want those burnt down embers that are sitting there super hot, right? But it's going to sit there at the bottom and be great to cook on. I don't know if the solo stove gets to that point with like embers in the bottom. I feel like it maybe doesn't. I don't know why that's in my head, but that would be my only thought.
The pictures it showed, right? It shows, it's a controlled flame, right? It's controlled, and it's not something that smolders. So again, right, anytime you've got external flame, I think it's trickier. That said, I'd love to have one. I'd love to play around with it. I think you can do some really cool things with it. But if I were new at making pizza outdoors, you're going to burn the first two. You just roll with that and until you nail it.
I think you're being generous on the first two only. So, but I'm with you. There's definitely a curve. I would definitely think there's a learning curve associated with this one. This is probably we're going to have to call one of our professional friends. It sounds like maybe Christy can handle this.
Christy would nail this, right? She'd get it the first time, but she's a professional. She's the best there is. So,
all right, cool. This would be a good one, Jim. We should get someone to give you one of these, right? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, both of us really. I mean, we both need one. I think Buddy Crocker should get me one after what they almost did to my house. So
let's see how version 2 comes in, man. Before I think it's gonna work, dude. I think it's gonna work. All right, let's get a minute or two for a few more. Tell me about this New Haven group that's doing theater. What is this about? New Haven Theater Group brings the history of pizza to the stage. Period.
Period. That I read the article hoping, there's more to this. No, that's it. Send it. Right. They are literally, kind of putting dinner and a show together, or talking about the history of pizza and how it came to New Haven, and it's a whole production. And I mean, listen, I go, right? If you're gonna go to the pizza capital of the world, you're gonna see a show about how we got there.
That's fair. The only thing I thought about, the special evening includes a 20-minute 1-act play, then a full pizza dinner by next door, and a discussion of New Haven pizza. Okay. I thought it was just a 20-minute, and I was like, that's a tough sell for me to get into one spot for 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I could really do that one. That felt a little short, but okay, dinner and a show and a discussion on top of it. So then I get down for that. Okay, I'm down for that.
I get it.
And that's with Colin Kaplan, right, from a Taste of New Haven, who's come on and chatted with us before. So awesome, man. Yeah, dude.
In all seriousness, I do think that's fun, right? Because you learn a little bit about it. It's got its own history, and Colin's just doing such wonderful things with just the scene out there. So in all seriousness, I think this is fun, right? And it's not a 2-hour play; it's a 20-minute skit.
Yeah, I think the discussion part's cool, especially if you if you see Colin or engage with him in any way. The dude is New Haven pizza, the embodiment of New Haven. So knowledgeable and able to talk about it, but also makes it entertaining and engaging in general. Just him in general of pizza to the non-pizza person, right? You're gonna be like, wow, tell me more, right? So that sounds interesting. He's the selling point for it. So check it out. All right, Daily Mail UK. Jim, put your hands up. Can I see your hands? We need the back. We need the back. Okay. So, $100 hand model. Do you think it can be you?
No, I retired hand modeling several years ago. Couldn't keep up in the game, but unfortunately. But If I had a piece of pizza in my hand, maybe that's a different story.
You know what? It depends upon the medium, right? So Lucky Man chosen for a unique $100 an hour pizza job. This is based on Australia, so we call it 60 some odd bucks, right? In US. But Pizza Hut job went viral and it was advertised last month that it had been revealed. So I didn't know this was out there. Queensland school teacher Matt Straight was chosen by the fast food company to be their next hand model after a nationwide search for the coveted role was announced. Domino's put the call out in May for someone with 18 plus years in pizza holding experience and who has had hands so clean and soft you could butter garlic bread with them and can lift a maximum of 4 pizza slices per hand. I feel as though I would have met at least the 4 pizza slices per hand qualification. Yeah. The other ones I probably would have fallen short on, but congratulations to Matt of being the Domino's new Domino's Aussie's new hand model.
Yeah, again, you read an article right in the headline. Yeah, maybe this one hit exactly where you thought.
Yeah,
it's just interesting, right? But again, when you think of a PR perspective, you need to hire somebody. Let's make it do a thing. Let's get people out there. Let's have fun with it, right? And it's not hurting anyone, and good for this guy, right? He gets a couple bucks, probably some pizza. Sure. I'm assuming. So it's fun. Not hurting anybody.
Will we see this in the U.S.? What do you think? Do we need a Domino's pizza hand model in the U.S.?
I think Casey's right. The next iteration of their food and wine or food and beer connoisseur, right? Then the hand model, right? But it's a guy with a monster in the hand, right? And the $5 sunglasses, right? I think that's the play, right? Some sort of high vis in there. That to me would be the next search. I would participate in that. I would find a way.
All right, you're gonna get a Casey job no matter what. Somehow we're gonna get you in, man.
Somehow you're gonna get
something.
It's either a job or a cease and desist, one of the two, and I'd be fine with either at this point.
I bet he may drop you a cease and desist before you get one from Casey. So, this is the last one up, man. Novel pizza openings. Pilsen shop offering Chicago and Filipino inspired pies. The Filipino and Mexican-owned pizzeria serves both pan and tavern style with unique toppings, like giardiniera and langasia, a Filipino sausage. I'm sure you would know how to pronounce this one better, Jim. I'm sure you've had Filipino sausage before. I haven't. Have you?
Yeah, I have. It is. It's wonderful. I want to say it's like almost like a smoked sausage texture, if I'm thinking of the right thing. But it's very savory and brilliant on pizza with giardiniera on tavern style. Perfect. I am so here for this. Pilsen's kind of a cool area, right? A suburb, but they have some really great pizza there. And again, it's cool to see how the cultural mashup, right? Bringing giardiniera is not really a pizza ingredient, but you can make it work. And then the Filipino, and there's some Mexican type ingredients too in some of their pies. So totally
here's a giardiniera pie. Okay,
that's perfection. That's awesome.
I dig it, dude. I'd be totally down for it. I'm always down for giardiniera in general. So let alone on a pizza, definitely like a spicy, pickly kind of little bite to that. I'm in, man.
Nice.
All right, man. Well, listen, I think that's about all the items we had to hit on tonight. Good time, a good day at pizza. I'm excited for your next cook to come up, and please videotape that for us, man. The world's ready to see it. And so when people want to watch you, Jim, where do they find you?
They're going to type in Jim Cook's Food Good wherever they get their social media, and hopefully I find it and not in flames.
And for everyone else, guys, please like and follow us. Check us out. I Need Pizza Club on YouTube. We've got a lot of great content for our show as well as a few others out there. So if you're interested in some more pizza content, check us out. I Need Pizza Club on our YouTube site. And on that week, guys, on that note, come back, check us out next week for another episode. Good night, everybody.
See ya.